702.
The Political Desk.
And today, looking at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, it has delivered another revealing week of testimony with alleged crime boss Vusimuzi Matlala facing intense questioning about his relationships with powerful figures in the police business and taxi industries. His evidence has included claims about meetings, money, and his relationship with the former Hawks officials as well. So that's on the one hand. Then we also saw General Godfrey Lebeya. He's the former Hawks head, also taking the stand. That was yesterday, facing intense questioning as well. Well, joining us is Eyewitness News reporter Karinda Jagmohan. Karinda, hi, good morning. Good to have you on breakfast.
Good morning, Ray. Thanks for having me on.
So let's take a look at this week, because I've been watching with intense interest. I want to start with Vusimuzi Matlala. Was he selective in what he told the commission? How did he come across to you? Because I know that he started by saying he didn't want to incriminate himself. Then he opened up somewhat. How did you take him? What did you learn from him?
Certainly, while it was quite difficult for evidence leaders to extract testimony from Vusimuzi Matlala this whole week, in fact, from Monday, he's been using a sort of blanket approach when it comes to his right against self-incrimination. He's been using that right to refuse to answer questions on many aspects, including his dealings with Hangwani Maumela as well as General Shadrack Lebeya. In fact, he didn't even answer the commission's questions when it came to Lebeya, saying that the matter is under investigation related to his Medicare 24 contract. But on face value, there's nothing there regarding the investigations other than allegations that Matlala paid Lebeya by way of impalas to sort of influence the awarding of this contract, among other allegations. So it's been difficult to extract testimony from him, but evidence leaders have had to go question by question to say, why can't you answer to this? What particular part of this is under investigation? Eventually leading him to open up in some cases and then reveal more information than what was before us. In fact, it was his testimony last week that placed Suleiman Karim on the farm of Jothan Msibi, and it was his testimony that revealed information that he gave up to KZN's General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi about alleged cartel member Steve Motsomi. So he's been giving up information, but very reluctantly so.
Yeah, it's interesting, though. We are starting to get a picture regardless of that, but we do still need to know more about Shadrack Lebeya and this relationship and how he ties into everything. We've got a fair amount of information so far, but Karinda, we need to know more.
Certainly. So this really was highlighted on the third day of his testimony, on Wednesday, Matlala's testimony. And it goes back to his relation with former Hawks head, Lebeya Senona, who set up a meeting between General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi and Vusimuzi Matlala in April last year. And it was from that meeting that we hear that payments were allegedly made to Lebeya. It's just that Matlala is not being forthcoming about who made these payments. Now, Lebeya has been linked to the alleged Big Five cartel, this including suspected role players like Jothan Msibi, upon whose farm all of these role players came to, Hangwani Maumela, Steve Motsomi, all of these names coming up, with Lebeya's being one of them. And it is alleged that Lebeya had been receiving payments via an alleged middleman, Suspended Sergeant Fani Nkosi. But what has not been declared truthfully in front of the commission by any of these witnesses is who these payments were from. In fact, Lebeya himself has, of course, withheld information in this regard. But we know that there were payments to him via impalas. We know there was also property transfers as well, a property in Stanton. And it is alleged, and this is, of course, speculation at this point, that this was because of apparent gratification in terms of the sway he could have in the SAPS.
Yeah. All right, let's park that for a while, because there was the former Hawks head Godfrey Lebeya yesterday saying he didn't know KT Molefe. There was that big arrest, you'll remember that as well, and questions about whether Hawks officials were sent to disrupt that arrest. I mean, I must admit, yesterday, I've always held Godfrey Lebeya in a very high esteem. Yesterday he painted the picture, he came out with it, he said what he said. But still, there's so many questions about that police raid.
Absolutely. In fact, Lebeya said he is the epitome of integrity and honesty. But there are so many questions remaining about his leadership at the Hawks and that raid particularly. Now, just a reminder that his testimony yesterday was just him reading his statement. So there was no pressing questions. That will happen at a later time. So that raid that happened on the 6th of December 2024 was an SAPS Gauteng crime intelligence operation to arrest Katiso Molefe for the alleged murder of Vereniging engineer Armand Swart. So this is a murder investigation. Now, there were multiple units on that Saturn house that day. And then as well, Hawks members who were allegedly interfering in that operation. There was a chopper, apparently, and many aspects around this.
You see, that's, Karinda, we'll have to leave it there, I'm afraid, because I think this is an interview that we need to have over maybe an hour. There's so many questions, I'm afraid, coming from the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, but those terms have been extended, and we'll hear over the next couple of weeks what's happening. In fact, a brand new witness today as well. So, Karinda, thank you so much. That's Karinda Jagmohan, who's from Eyewitness News. Good to have you on Breakfast this morning.